When Love Turned Deadly, the Pamela Smart Murder true crime documentary. The night was quiet, but it all changed in a blink. It was May 1st, 1990. A young man walked into the home of Gregg Smart, calm, unsuspecting, and gently forced him to his knees. Another teenager pressed a knife against Gregg's throat, his hand shaking. Suddenly, a shot rang out. Gregg fell face down on the living room floor. He was dead. The killers ran out. The house looked like a messy burglary. But something was wrong. This was no ordinary break-in. It was a trap planned from the outside. That evening, Pamela Smart came home, walked in, and froze. Her husband was gone, and a brutal secret had just begun to unravel. But who could have done such a thing? And why did it feel more like murder than robbery? Months earlier, Pamela, then only 22, worked at a high school as media coordinator. She seemed ordinary, friendly even. But behind closed doors, she was living a secret life. She had started seeing a teenager, William "Billy" Flynn. He was just 15. Their relationship was hidden from everyone. Pamela told him she loved him. She made him believe she needed him. And worse, she convinced him that the only way to be together is if her husband was out of the picture for good. Billy told police later that Pamela threatened to leave him if he didn't obey her. She promised him money, told him it would be quick, and that the death would look like a guilty robbery gone wrong. Billy, confused, manipulated, desperate, agreed. He recruited friends Patrick Randall, Vance Lattime Jr., and Raymond Fowler. They agreed to break into the Smart home. The plan was cruel and simple: make it look like thieves had broken in. But on that night, everything changed. Billy and his friends weren't thieves. They were killers. When police discovered the body, nothing was missing. No jewelry gone, no valuables taken. The scene was too messy, too staged for robbery. Investigators smelled a lie. Questions started to pile up. If no one stole anything, why kill Gregg? And why so carelessly? That's when suspicion turned toward Pamela Smart.
Then came the shocker. Another teenager, someone Pamela had shared secrets with, agreed to wear a hidden recorder and talk to her. In those secret conversations, Pamela spoke freely. She admitted things she shouldn't have. She made threats. She discussed plans. She shifted stories. The evidence was building. Audio recordings, confessions from the teens, a murder weapon tracked down. Everything pointed to her. She was no victim. She was the puppet master. And then, on a regular day, August 1st, 1990, detectives showed up at Pamela's school. She was called into the media office. Calm, collected, she smiled. And then they told her, "We solved your husband's murder. You're under arrest." Shock, confusion, silence. That's where we leave you hanging. Nothing would ever be the same again. Pamela Smart's arrest shook the small town of Derry, New Hampshire. Teachers whispered in hallways. Students stared at the news cameras. The community couldn't believe it. A young, pretty media coordinator accused of plotting her husband's murder. But as the investigation unfolded, the story became darker than anyone could imagine. The trial began in 1991. Pamela sat in the courtroom, composed and dressed sharply, her face calm, but her eyes betrayed something. Across the room, the teens who had carried out the killing were ready to testify. The prosecution had a mountain of evidence: recorded conversations, witness statements, and a clear timeline showing Pamela's involvement. The media called it the murder of the decade, and cameras followed every step. The most shocking testimony came from Billy Flynn. His voice trembled as he described how Pamela had manipulated him. She told him she loved him. She promised they could run away together, and she convinced him that killing her husband was the only way to be free. Billy said he never imagined it would happen, but that night, he had followed her instructions, and Gregg Smart was dead. Patrick Randall, another teen, confirmed the details. The teenagers' stories painted a chilling picture. Pamela wasn't just involved, she had orchestrated everything.
Pamela's defense argued that she never physically harmed her husband, that she was a victim of the teen's misinterpretation of her words, and that the prosecution was exaggerating. Her lawyer said she had flirted with danger and deception, yes, but she wasn't a murderer. But the jury wasn't convinced. Every secret, every manipulation, every whispered plan came back to haunt her. The trial had moments of shocking drama. Pamela's calm demeanor was juxtaposed against emotional testimony from Gregg Smart's family. His mother, his sister, and friends described him as a loving husband, a devoted father, and a man who didn't deserve to die. Their grief filled the courtroom, and the contrast with Pamela's composure only intensified public outrage. Evidence of Pamela's relationship with the teens shocked everyone. Photos, letters, and recorded phone calls were played for the jury. The recordings revealed Pamela's involvement step by step, instructing, encouraging, and rewarding the teenagers for their role in her husband's murder. Each new piece of evidence made the crime feel more real, more horrifying. Outside the courtroom, the town was divided. Some couldn't believe Pamela could be capable of such manipulation. Others felt justice was long overdue. Newspapers ran daily updates, and television stations broadcast every moment of the trial. Pamela Smart's face became infamous, a symbol of deceit and betrayal. Then came the moment no one would forget. The jury filed back into the courtroom after hours of deliberation. Pamela sat, expression unreadable, as the judge asked if they had reached a verdict. The room fell silent. Every breath seemed louder than the last. The jury foreperson stood, cleared their throat, and said 3 words that would change everything. "We find her."
The tension was unbearable. Outside, cameras captured every reaction. Inside, Pamela's fate was about to be sealed, and at that moment, the world wondered, would she ever admit the full truth, or was more shocking revelation still to come? The story didn't end in the courtroom. Secrets, lies, and manipulation had one final twist waiting, one that would leave everyone stunned. The courtroom was silent as Pamela Smart awaited her fate. The jury had reached a verdict after days of tense deliberation, and the world outside could barely wait to hear it. When the foreperson finally spoke the words, "Guilty on all counts," a collective gasp echoed through the room. Pamela's calm exterior didn't falter, but inside, the reality of her actions began to sink in. She had been convicted of conspiring to commit murder, witness tampering, and accomplice to her husband's death. The young teenagers who carried out the killing were already serving sentences, but now their manipulator would face justice too. Pamela was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. She would never see her children grow up, never walk freely again, and never escape the shadow of the crime she orchestrated. For the town of Derry, New Hampshire, the sense of relief was mixed with horror. A trusted teacher had turned deadly, and manipulation had led innocent teenagers into committing an unimaginable act. The impact on the teens was profound. Billy Flynn, Patrick Randall, Vance Lattime Jr., and Raymond Fowler were each sentenced to long prison terms, but the emotional scars ran deeper than the legal punishments. Some expressed regret, some blamed Pamela, and some struggled with the weight of having taken a human life at such a young age. Psychologists later described the case as a chilling example of coercion, manipulation, and the dangerous power of a persuasive adult over vulnerable youths.
Public fascination with Pamela Smart didn't end with the trial. The case became the subject of documentaries, news specials, and countless true crime books. People were horrified by the audacity and cold calculation of a woman who used love, desire, and promises to manipulate teenagers into murder. Yet, some were captivated by her story, by the complexity of human behavior, the consequences of deception, and the fragility of trust. Pamela herself remained a figure of controversy. While in prison, she maintained her innocence in interviews, insisting she never intended for her husband to die. Skeptics saw her claims as further manipulation, a continuation of the behavior that had led to Gregg's murder. Her life behind bars was spent under strict supervision, with limited contact with the outside world. But the story she left behind of betrayal, manipulation, and murder would be remembered forever. And though the courtroom doors closed, the haunting questions lingered. How could a young woman convince teenagers to commit such a violent act? How could love and desire twist into something deadly? And most importantly, could something like this happen again? The Pamela Smart case remains a chilling reminder of how human vulnerability can be exploited, how charm can mask evil, and how even the quietest towns can hide the darkest secrets. The murder, the manipulation, the trial, and the shocking sentences all ended in legal terms, but the story continues to grip the public imagination. Every documentary, every book, every retelling serves as a warning and a fascination. For those who hear it, the question lingers. What would you do if someone you trusted asked the unthinkable? Pamela Smart's life, the lives of the teenagers, and the tragedy of Gregg Smart remind us the truth can be stranger and far more terrifying than fiction.